Good Friday afternoon, evening. Look, it's almost time for Christmas. You're muted. Are you not muted? Am I not hearing things? Let me check your mic. In general, it seems okay. Are you going to come back? Yeah, okay. So he's just going to restart. So, hi, by the way. My name's Darren. That over there was Victor. And we're the host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, when we're around, we do this live show and talk about the things of the week or the past couple of weeks. There it is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I've already done the intro, so we can go away now. What's your normal out? Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye. Yeah. Is there anything else?
There's a little bit this week, not much.
Okay.
In fact, we're going to be looking back at reInvent. This is your warning to go ahead and start preparing things to submit to reInvent next year. I'll remind you later too. How have you been? We were going to be here last week, and then Victor ended up taking a quick family vacation. So
yeah, I did unacceptable, unsuspected.
It's okay. By the way, just be thinking about it as we're going live today. Do y'all want us around for the next couple of weeks or not? We'd be here next Friday for sure, but the week after Christmas or the week of Christmas? Because Christmas is on Wednesday. Are you going out of town that Friday? Or are you going to be home?
I'm not going anywhere.
I mean, you're home. You'll be somewhere, not traveling. Okay, we'll leave it up because my wife's got some things going on that day, so she's not going to be around. So the only thing I'll be doing is cleaning the house because it is an off day from work. So I'm either cleaning the house or trimming trees. So would I rather do that or be here? I'm not sure.
It's cold outside, so be here.
It's not that cold outside. It's like 0. But this weekend is supposed to be, like 60. So that is 18, 17, 18. That's still too cold for you.
That's fine.
Okay. Karen, good to see you. Jivad, good to see you. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a while. There honestly wasn't much going on these past few. It's like after reInvent happened, which we'll talk about reInvent, everybody's already gone into, this is a January problem, I think.
But isn't the reInvent the chance to change the world?
Okay. Let's hold that because we'll just talk because literally there's not much else to go on this week. Let's go ahead and let me get. And by the way, I got my Chrome working again, so now I can actually switch buttons around and do the things I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to go deep into the podcast. In fact, I lost a couple here for whatever silly reason. The one that I did want to call out was the one that actually closed. We talked about one of there is. Open source is not a real project or whatever it is. Okay, it was 292. I can look it up because you came up with the title live, which always makes my job a lot easier when you say something that, or one of us says something. No project is truly open source. If you haven't listened to this one, this is a good one to listen to. And then this week we talked to Michael Zerker, and you can tell I'm doing the thumbnails a little bit differently, right?
I was about to commend you on thumbnails, kind of like.
Thank you.
It looks refreshing, man.
It's hard.
This one looks like I've seen it 10,000 times before.
It's because you have. It's on
the
Canva.
Other one I like more.
It's a Canva thumbnail, and that's a Canva or a Canva template. That wasn't a Canva template. That was my old. So I'm going to try to move away from this, but this is my fallback in case something happens bad. And I can't find something I like. I like this one when we have guests. Because most of the time we have a picture, and that worked out pretty good. But anyway, just listen to the podcast. Thank you for listening. I do want to go ahead and call out Stigg. You probably don't remember this. They were on episode 212, so a long time ago. I think it was 2023. Basically a SaaS for pricing. So if you have a SaaS that you're trying to do pricing for, they are the SaaS to help you do pricing. Does that help you make sense on that?
They're the company that helps you get money from other people.
From other people, right. So they raised a Series A at $17 million. Now,
nice.
I've been watching, and there have been some rounds of raises they're starting to get above the 2 million range again. They're starting to get back into what I would call normal. Like to me, a normal Series A is anywhere from 15 to 50, right? Somewhere in that.
50 for Series A is a lot, man.
It's really high. So maybe 40, 15 to 40. That's, not 100. Typically, unless you're an AI, and then that's a completely different range.
It also depends on the type of the company. Kind of some companies simply cannot start earning money before they reach, or at least not serious money before they reach C or something like that, right? So that's very different than company that starts earning money from the get-go, right? And that depends on the type of the product.
Right.
And I'm guessing that by getting 17.5 million, the Stigg is probably already getting some cookies.
That's what I'm thinking too. So anyway, congratulations to those guys. They stuck it out since we've been on. So again, that's been almost, let's just call it just shy of 2 years since we had them on. So I saw it come through. It's like, that sounds familiar. And then I looked, it's like, oh yeah, I remember. Because we talked to the guy on the right. So anyway, congratulations. Let's talk about AWS. Now, we're going to talk primarily around the not AI stuff. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting to me is they were following the Apple model, the Google model. So in other words, about 2 weeks before reInvent, things started dripping out. Like lower, like, hey, here's some new S3 things. Here's some, and they kept dripping these things out. So once you got to reInvent, in theory, you thought it was the big things. Well, unless you were doing AI, there wasn't much because it was all pretty much AI, except for these couple of items around EKS. This first one was auto mode. So this is, what's the GKE version of that?
GKE Autopilot.
Autopilot.
On AWS.
Right. That's what this is. It's about darn time because I don't think there's a vendored Kubernetes solution that is more hard to stand up from zero than EKS.
Oh, yeah. Also, no vendor Kubernetes solution that is more flexible.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So,
but I believe that AWS is the dominant player in the market, right? And so, and this is a theory, I cannot prove this, right? They have a luxury that they don't have to compete with underdogs by having a new feature that being first to release something, right? They don't have to be the first to release autopilot-like feature. They don't have to be first at anything. They just need to be reliable, right? And their customers are going to wait 2 years after Google or Azure releases something, as long as that something is working.
Now, one thing I forgot to add to the notes, 133 came out this week. I'll pull that up here live in a minute because there was one thing that I thought was interesting that they added there. So anyway, auto mode for EKS, and then using your on-premise infrastructure in EKS clusters with hybrid nodes. What could go wrong with that? Everything. I mean, it's great. It's sort of like, this is the like hardware. It's like EKS anywhere, managed by customer, hybrid nodes there, and then outposts. But this table here alone is just chilling to me.
I buy, so if you're running something on-prem, right? And I understand completely how you might choose to transition to cloud over years. I understand perfectly how you might choose to put something in public cloud and keep some other things on-prem and or any other permutation. The one that I don't understand is why would you have the same cluster spinning up across private or self-managed or on-prem and public cloud? The thing about having nodes here and there, I don't understand it. Honestly don't.
I don't either. Other than maybe I could see it for a dev environment. Like you wanted to, but even that would be a stretch because control planes are cheap
because
to
one
manage,
thing
right?
is my application is running here and the database is running over here, kind of on-prem cloud, whichever variation, and they need to somehow talk to each other. I understand that perfectly. That's the use case. Now, why would this and this be in the same cluster instead of different clusters? That's the part I don't get.
Yeah, I don't either. But anyway, this was an announcement, so I wanted to at least call it out. And there were a couple other EKS related announcements. Actually, I want to go back to. Can I pull it here? Let's see.
But what I can tell you for AWS is that AWS is probably more data-driven company than any other I know.
Yeah.
So when they release something, that's based on concrete evidence that their customers need it.
Yeah.
So whatever I said, I don't understand. There are obviously companies lined up that need this.
Yep. Hey, Tiago. Good to see you. Portugal. I have to go to Portugal sometime. Have I been to Portugal? I don't remember.
You were in Portugal with me, right? In Lisbon, I think, with Jenkins.
Nice.
Something.
I was in Nice.
Was that Nice? Okay,
Yeah.
then Nice. Yeah. There you go.
Just to know, McDonald's tastes like McDonald's no matter where you are in the world. But anyway, there was one other announcement, and I lost track of it, and I forgot to go back and look it up. But it was...
The one I was pinged the most about, that was the announcement about Crow.
Crow.
Crow is very similar to crossplane compositions. I
Oh,
don't think it's important for AWS, but since I'm with crossplane, then
Okay.
that's what I was asked about.
Okay. Again, I went through everything and filtering out the AI stuff. There really wasn't much. But if you think about it, again, going back to 2006, 2007, so now we're 17, 18 years into AWS. Is that surprising? I don't think so.
You reach a maturity level. I mean, AWS is in a way similar to Apple, kind of like we have our customer base, you dominate the market. We are not really coming with anything revolutionary, kind of like that's not our business model at that scale.
Yeah.
And
Which I guess is
that's not
good.
a bad thing, just
Yeah.
to be clear, kind of. This is not me trashing it. It's quite the opposite.
I agree. Okay, let's move on to somebody that runs on AWS, and that is Heroku. Yes, Heroku still lives. So they're planting new platform roots with fir. Now remember, the base of Heroku for years was called cedar. So they're just sticking with the tree metaphor. What is it with the West Coasters and trees? I don't understand. By the way, they open sourced their 12-factor. We talked. Oh wait, no, was that? That wasn't Heroku. That was somebody else.
No, I think it's
Anyway.
factor was
Was it?
Heroku. Is Heroku.
Okay.
I think so.
Anyway, so these principles were adopted in ecosystems, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So FIR is built on a foundation of cloud-native technologies and open source standards, ensuring portability. An AI written line if I've ever seen one written. Embracing technologies like OCI, cloud-native build packs, which Heroku did bring to the market. Right? That's one of the great things. Open telemetry and Kubernetes. We're providing a platform that's not only powerful, but also incredibly flexible. Okay. OCI. So I use C and B to build an OCI that gets deployed to K8S.
Yeah.
That then is
emits
OTel.
open telemetry.
And?
Yeah, kind of like the part I'm failing to grasp here is kind of what's the news.
Other than them saying that
Because kind of this is
they're using
literally what
Kubernetes?
everybody's doing. Huh?
it's just like we're using Kubernetes. Yay?
Yeah. And with in a most basic and common way, the only thing that is not necessarily used by vast majority of everybody, that would be cloud native build packs.
Right.
But not new in any form of way. So
Other than they're just saying, hey, we're now here. Maybe that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Cool.
But it's like, okay, I guess. Sure.
Yeah. I wouldn't post it as news. I mean, kind of like I would just do it and not announce it anywhere, to be honest. But cool.
That's all the news. Let's take a quick look at your 3 videos. Hey, by the way, you're generating your thumbnails, right? Are you?
Not me. No.
Oh.
My brother is doing them.
Oh, okay. I thought he was, or I thought you were still doing it. Never mind.
I have no idea how they're doing it. So.
And it doesn't matter. So Argo CD, Nats. I watched this Nats one.
Okay.
I didn't watch the Argo CD one. Didn't care. Nats. If people aren't using PubSub today, are they being silly?
I mean,
Whether it's Nats or not, pick any of them. Right?
Yeah, kind of. If it's a small scale, then who cares,
Yeah.
right? And it's large scale, and you already did it somehow else. Okay, keep it. But I would say that if you're doing something at a larger scale and you're starting now, you're being silly if you're not using events. Yes.
So let me go back to the small scale. So even if it's small scale, and something like Nats, which is super lightweight to run, by the way, in comparison to
Yes.
some of the others. I mean,
Yes.
I'll give it that. So it's small scale. Nats scales pretty well from what I've seen in general.
Yes.
In general. So whether you're small or whether you're large, Nats is probably going to cover you. There's probably there's a breaking point compared to,
Yeah.
like, I'll name one, something like ActiveMQ or RabbitMQ or
Yeah.
any of those.
Yeah.
They're a little bit heavier to get going in
Oh,
comparison.
exactly. This is kind of like if you choose, if you want to use PubSub, it's almost like a no-brainer to me. Nuts. But going back, kind of whether you're silly, I think that when you're a small company, then decisions what to use should be mostly focused on what your skill sets are, rather than what makes more and what makes less sense. Right? Like, let's say that you're a tiny company, right? Should you use Kubernetes? Well, it depends. If I'm there in that small company, and I would say, yeah, go for Kubernetes because, yeah, we know Kubernetes, right? For me, Kubernetes is the fastest way to do something today. But for a significant number of people, it's quite the opposite. And it would be an overkill in a small organization, right?
I think so.
So
Yeah.
depends on the skill set. I think that's my new answer to what should small companies use.
Yeah, because if you already know how to run it or how to interact with a vendor solution, then
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly. So, if there is a person in that small company that is used to RabbitMQ, I think that's probably a better option than going with Nuts. Not because it's a better option, but because, hey, you already know it. Kind of, let's not waste time on things you don't know. If you know something, then let's leverage that. Right? You know none of them, then let's not use PubSub. There will be time in the future to switch to it.
I think the key part to that, though, is if you're the application developer, make sure you can decouple when you need to decouple. Right? Just always have that, even if you're not writing it decoupled now, try to write your interfaces in such a way that it can be decoupled when the time may come.
As long as that does not end up being a bottleneck.
Right.
Right?
Like if you,
Kind
yeah.
of. Don't get stuck on, I spent 6 months making decoupled architecture. No, please don't. Kind of like ship something.
That's, yeah. There's always a time and a place, but if you can sort of keep that one maybe mid-brain, just as we might end up pulling this one apart. Okay.
Yeah. But that goes back to my rant about skill sets, right? Kind of, if your job is primarily to write code, and you wrote infinite number of decoupled applications that are kind of simple yet easy to change to be more complex when the time comes, then for you that's a muscle memory, kind of, you just do it. But then if you're not used to it, you can get stuck with it easily, right? And not ship.
Yep. Sorry, I was turning off something. I was losing my internet again. I'd forgotten to disable something. I need a global button that I can push that will disable my backup on all my machines all at once. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I need to automate that.
You need a CURL script to do it or something like that.
Yeah, but I don't know if the client has an API on it that I can smash or not. I got to figure that out.
Then there is not much help. Ansible, I guess.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can figure I can do. But anyway, so I thought this was good. If you haven't got into looking at PubSub, watch this video. This is one of the better. In fact, the way you set it up by using the CLI and then showing how to do it in app, ignoring whatever language you're using, is the model I've seen when people have tried to learn ActiveMQ or RabbitMQ or any of the other queues. And that's a great way to sort of see it. And you have multiple windows up, and all of a sudden you see messages flying around. It's like, oh, this is really great.
The challenge with PubSub, I think, is understanding how it works rather than how to write code that leverages it. Writing code is easy. It's 3 lines in any language. Doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying is by using the CLI, if you can understand what's going on just by using CLIs, and it's going to be like, oh, okay. Yet another reason why you always want to understand the CLI first. Okay, maybe not, but can help. And then you had one this week about Velero backups.
Yes. It
still lives.
It's a video where I promised to myself that I will not be negative for a change.
I didn't watch it. Were you? Did you end up being negative?
I was all sunshine and unicorns.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Speaking of sunshine and unicorns, let's take a look at 132's release because it came out 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, sure. Interesting logo. I'll look at that. Okay. Let's see here because I have not looked at it. I literally just pulled this up. I did see. So normally Stigg has their what to look for and what happened, and I haven't seen that come out yet. Which again might be holidays. I don't know.
DRA, the one that you just passed. That's the thing.
So, talk to me like I'm a 5th grader and have never heard of DRA because I haven't.
I mean, basically, Kubernetes traditionally until now, you need to tell, okay, this pod needs this much of this and that much of that, right? Now you can do it dynamically, right? That's the difference. No hard-coded resource allocations.
So why is that a good thing? Because to me,
because nobody knows how many resources something needs. That's why.
Okay, fair enough. But so what I'm interpreting this as is don't set anything, let it run. It's going to figure out what's happening, and then under the hood, it's setting those limits, the limits and requests.
No, more that you're giving it boundaries rather than exact values.
So in other words, don't use more than 60% of this cluster with this app.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Whatever that is. Okay. But it's only beta though, right? It's still not.
It's still new rules since a while ago.
Right.
Until it's GA, it's not in Kubernetes by default.
Got it.
And you might have, if you're running Kubernetes yourself, self-managed, you can enable those things. If you're running it as a managed offering, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, whatever, you might have a challenge actually when enabling those things.
Okay. Let's see. Highlights, custom resource field selectors, support to size memory-backed volumes. Okay. Bound service token.
Kubernetes is boring, man.
Okay. This one isn't to me. Auto-remove PVCs created by a stateful set. Because if you're using stateful sets and you deleted the pod, the PVCs would stick around. And you'd have to go back and delete the PV and PVC. And now,
yes.
Again, this was GA. It's been beta for a while, but now it's finally GA. There's pluses and minuses to this. But
the default of not deleting it
is good.
Makes sense to be the default, right?
Yes.
Because we error on safety.
Yes.
right? Now we have the option to change that. It's nice.
Yeah.
I would
Listen-
never put. If somebody would propose to make that default, I would say absolutely not. But
No.
it's a good thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking during development cycles, I was like, okay, now I destroy this thing and now I want to start fresh again. I'd have to put in extra things in my kill script to take care of the PV and PVC. So being able to just say yes, then that just makes it better. This is one of my favorite ones just because of the world I live in, being in stateful set world most of the time. And then a bunch of beta things. Again, it's boring. It's boring. Let's see if there's anything in alpha that's interesting. Asynchronous preemption in the scheduler. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, the second one,
Okay.
mutating admission policies. That was almost inevitable, right?
yeah. That finally, I guess, is one way to think about it.
Yeah, I'm very much against. I don't think that anybody should ever use mutating admission policies. But if you do, now you have it.
Yeah. Pod level resource specs. Okay.
Yeah, those are all the details, right? That are important to some, irrelevant to majority.
Yes, let's get to this DRA one. Standardized network interface data for resource claim status. Drivers to report. Okay.
I mean, I'm just reading the first sentence of the Windows Strikes Back,
Yeah.
and I'm out. I mean, I'm not using Windows, so I don't know. I was just surprised that. Does this mean that until now we couldn't shut down Windows nodes gracefully?
Gracefully. Yeah, it was.
It's such a shock to me.
But anyway, it's. Yeah, it's. Because think about it, it's not that hard, but it is, I guess. I've heard some people
I'm just
actually
guessing
talking
it
about this
must
one.
be. Huh?
Yeah. I've heard some people talking about this one. This is huge for them because their clusters are nothing but Windows 8 nodes. And I'm going, why is all your stuff Windows nodes? Well, we're used to running Windows.
And I respect that. I
It's
just
fine.
get surprised when, I'm negative, kind of like, why are you moving it anywhere? Why don't you just keep it as is? Why Kubernetes? Why don't you focus on something closer to present tense? And now I'm going to get trashed by Windows people, by saying that Windows on servers is the past, but I'll stick with that's a hill I'm going to die on.
Old man shaking fist at the sky. That's what I'm feeling like on this. Graduations. Okay, so here's the stable graduations. So if there's anything here, nothing that we didn't see already. Let's look at deprecations and removals. Okay. Withdrawal of the old DRA spec. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
One removal.
that's why it's not GA.
Yeah. Flow schema and party level configuration. Okay. Good. So since this came out on Wednesday, now the clock starts ticking of who vendored comes first.
I think that AWS is probably the fastest now.
I think they are too, but I haven't seen it happen yet for this. I see two more things here. Let's take a look at them that came out. Oh, okay. The scheduler processes pods into one by one. Therefore, the larger your cluster, the more important the throughput of the scheduler becomes. No duh. In other words, you're saying the scheduler is a single point of failure? A single bottleneck?
Not necessarily. So if you kill the scheduler, everything still works. You just cannot
Schedule anything new?
operate it.
Right. Which is sort of what you need. Right?
Yeah, I mean, but kind of that's the lesser of the evils, right? Kind of
right.
like if everything continues working, but I cannot deploy a new release, that's bad.
Yeah.
But the least bad thing
Right.
in case of a disaster, right?
Yeah. That's fine. So all on schedule, data structures, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, improvements. That's what we're trying to find here. So unscheduled pods only move back in active queue or back off queue. Prior to that, each plugin. Okay, 2 issues with each approach. Okay, get me to what we're doing now. Queuing hint subscribes to a particular type of cluster event and makes a decision whether the incoming event could be a pod schedulable. Okay. I guess they're just talking about all this stuff. Here we go. Here's what's new. Okay. Since 128, so year and change. I can't remember if the 4-month thing happened since 128. It used to be once every 3 months. Now we've gone to once every 4 months. So I don't remember how old this is. Okay. Isn't user implemented a blah? Default enabled again. Okay.
It's one of those things that for vast majority of people,
We don't care.
You don't care. It's just going to work better without you knowing that it's working better.
Memory manager goes GA. So what does this mean?
That's also kind of more behind the hood.
Yeah. Did these need to be in place prior to These obviously have to be in place prior to DPA being considered, do you think?
DRA?
DRA, sorry, thank you.
I don't think so. No.
No?
I think that those are more...
You don't think this is a building block towards that?
quality of life type of stuff.
Okay.
Improvements.
All right. Well, anyway. Penelope is here. Oh, joy.
Penelope.
Just in time for holidays, right? Now everybody can rush to... they know what they're doing on December 26th or 25th, depending on if you got the short straw or not.
I mean, to be honest, for a while now, if it wouldn't be for this show, I would not know what was added in like last 2 years of Kubernetes releases. The only one that stuck with me and I remember, that's the admission policies. That's the only feature that stuck with me. And DRA actually.
Yeah,
that's going to be big, but that's not GA yet.
So is there anything else we need to care about now? I mean, now we start the clock again for 4 months from now. So that'll be April.
Kubernetes is getting to the similar spot where Linux is now, kind of like how I do remember. I don't know whether I was a freak back then or not, but decades ago, I was actually looking at what is in a new release of a kernel or some Linux distribution, right? Kind of those things were important to me. Now I don't care. Kind of it gets gradually better, more stable, what's or not.
As long as it doesn't break, you don't care?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is that it?
I think that might be it.
Okay. I need to drag this out. We'll be here next week. Will there be any news between this week and next week? No, I can already...
Something related to Santa Claus or to Christmas tree or something.
We need to do another live thing. What do you want me to do live next week? Because that's how we'll...
Okay, but aren't you now... Isn't that the tradition that you doing something live is always AI related?
It has been. That doesn't mean it needs to be.
Do something AI.
But there isn't anything AI to do.
I
mean, seriously, it's...
Okay, I have a task for you, if you want.
Oh, dear. Okay.
I haven't tried it out.
Okay.
I'm going to... It's open source, eh? No funny business. I'm going to... I just forgot the name, but I know that I have it written somewhere. Check AG2.
AG2?
Yeah,
I'll pull it up here.
AG2.ai.
Okay, here.
Do that one next week.
All right, so let me any advice vendor tools run workloads that need GPUs on Kubernetes?
I mean, if you're using a managed Kubernetes cluster, then all of those, AKSs and GKs and EKSs of the world have already
right?
baked in. You just need to specify how much GPU you need in your pods, and that's it. I mean, of course, it can get complicated later on, but to begin with, you just need to enable it if it's managed Kubernetes.
Yeah, I was thinking, here, let me flip back to here. I think this is the one you were talking about, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay.
I know nothing about it, but somebody told me kind of, hey, check this out.
Take a look at it. I'm trying to see here if, so this is the line right here, going back to what we have up here from Lee. EKS Auto Mode also reduces the work required to acquire and run cost-efficient GPU-accelerated instances so that your generative AI workloads have capacity they need when they need it. I mean, it's built into if you're using EKS.
Yeah, I mean, all of those. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, it would be ridiculous for a cloud provider not to give you this, because kind of if there is to spend more money than anything else, that's AI.
Yeah. I don't know if I can answer that. Open feature flags in Kubernetes with Jenkins Feature Manager.
Okay. Open feature flags in. I have a very rudimentary experience with open features, so
Yeah, same with me. Anyway, do Bitcoin mining, except it's not profitable. No, right? No.
I mean,
I don't have enough money to Bitcoin.
It is actually very profitable if it's on other people's accounts.
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because this lives on YouTube, and I'm not going to say how that can happen. Yeah, see, I can tell it's winter time now. I'm starting to grow my beard. It's been going for about 2 weeks. Now I can't grow a beard. This will be coming off later today. Okay, I'm going to do here. Let's tease this for just a second, because open source build production ready multi-agent systems in minutes, not months. Okay. All right. Everybody. GitHub has a capital H, not a lowercase h. Just please.
You know, that's the thing that I'm not yet sure fully understand. Kind of when I see a lot of focus on agents, does that in a way means that we are hitting the limit what AIs can do? So the only way to progress forward is to have many of them.
That's
would that make sense as an explanation?
probably.
Because, you know, if those models are going to continue improving exponentially as they were so far, I don't really need agents. I just need GPT-5 and after that GPT-6, right?
Right. Let me look here. Formerly AutoGen. Please don't say it's Python. Please don't say it's Python.
Oh, of course it's Python. There you go.
Dang,
look at the
it's
last
Python.
2 files. It's Python, yeah. I mean, come on. It's if it's AI, it's Python. Just like kind of if
I
you show
know.
if you tell me that there is a CLI for Kubernetes, I can tell you with close to absolute certainty it's written in Go, right?
Yeah.
I know different areas have default kind of. I'm not writing much AI myself code, but I'm pretty sure that if you choose something that is not Python, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah, I know, but still. Lots of contributors. Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, it's actually I was
Apache.
surprised when I saw it. It's kind of it's relatively big, and I didn't know about it until recently.
Well, at least we can run it in Docker, which is fine. I can probably how I'll do it.
Yeah, there is a Docker installation, so kind of no need for you to fiddle with Python or what's not. Again, I haven't tried it though.
Well, if I was going to fiddle with Python, I would just use DevBox.
ChatGPT to write your Python code.
I just don't like writing Python. I just don't. I would rather write Go, and I don't know Go as well as I know Python. But I just don't. Okay, so we can clone a repo. Okay. We'll probably go through their example. That's how we'll do it. So that's what we'll do next week. We'll do AG2 next week. I'll give me time to play with it between now and then.
Yeah, just prepare your dev box in advance so that you have Python and whatever else is needed, and there you go.
Yeah. The GitLab. So if you're talking about the AI features they were talking about in concert with AWS, which is the only thing that I've seen. Probably not.
So the way I see it is that there is a limited number of companies who are actually creating actual models. AWS being one of them. So that's limited, and then everybody else is just basically making calls to those models. Nothing really interesting happening there. But what is interesting is when companies that have projects that deal with your data somehow are potentially very interesting for AI, even though they're not doing anything special, right? Like observability, right? Or GitLab, right? If you use GitLab, you have a lot of data in GitLab. And then it's probably very helpful for them to pass that data to AWS this or that, or OpenAI this or that, instead of you copying and pasting things into a chatbot, right? That's the advantage, but that's all. You remember that we had that conversation probably once or many times, how for vast majority of companies, AI is just a feature in that product, right? And that's what we're seeing right now. That's what's happening. That's what GitLab AI probably is about, right? We're not doing anything revolutionary. We're not doing anything special. We're not creating our own models, but we can embed it into our product, and you benefit from us sending data to a model and giving you some responses.
Thank you. You said it better than I could at this point. I think we're, again, going through the hype cycle, right? We're in the bottom right now, to me. We're in that trough.
At the beginning, you mean?
At the beginning of the trough. Yeah, I don't think we're at the bottom of the trough yet. Because
I'm not sure what is a trough.
The trough of disillusion
after the spike?
Is after the spike.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually the debate that I'm seeing right now. Kind of like, okay, so, and that's going back to what I was saying before about limits and agents and stuff like that. So is this going to continue exponentially growing?
Yeah.
Because if it will, then the spike, we're not yet we did not pass the tip, right?
Yeah, I think we're like right here. If you can see where the.
But that depends on kind of, so kind of, if the growth is going to continue being exponential, then we are on the left side of that peak.
We're
still,
here. So you think we're still hit,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's very possible that we are on the right side of it if it's not growing exponentially. Basically, this is it, right?
Yeah.
And it's very possible that yes, this is it, right? There are quite a few indications that OpenAIs of the world reach certain limits, and kind of, first of all, there is not much more data you can feed to the models because you just loaded whole internet already. And also that the gains you're getting by doubling the amount of data are not there anymore, right? They were before, but not anymore, right? So it all depends, I think, whether we're on left or right side of whether the improvement can continue being exponential.
Right. I think we both are saying, though. I think we're on the down. You're not sure. We both agree, though, we're not on this side yet.
No,
we're nowhere near that part.
No, we're definitely not. We are anything between 1 and 3.
Yeah. How long? But it feels like, though, this time we might get to enlightenment sooner. I think we're still a ways from productivity, but.
No, we're away from anything after 3. That I'm certain. The question is, I think that the problem with AI is that the generated marketing hype was too big, right? So kind of you were being told that this is going to change everything, and then when it doesn't, you're disillusioned. And you might be disillusioned because that's what we have today is more or less it. Or you might be disillusioned because it will take years until it changes everything. But you were sold the story that's right now, right? So we might be falling into the too much marketing hype problem, right?
Probably. And Jivad here, LLM is the new big data. This is like the...
Yeah, but big data, kind of big data was important. Kind of like basically many of the things we use today is relying on it. Google Maps, whatever, kind of bunch of applications relying on big data. But big data was never that big of a hype, right? So it just became part of our life without us knowing much about it, right? AI is just too much marketing. It's so easy to get disillusioned by false promises, not by bad technology in a way.
And welcome to the tech world. With that
but
statement,
there was never
right?
this hype was. I don't think it ever
For big data
happened before.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Oh yeah.
No, AI kind of like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not AI hype,
yeah, kind
but
of. I don't think that this amount of marketing money was ever spent before. Because literally everybody is doing some AI. Kind of find me a company who is not doing some AI.
That I'll agree with. I was thinking maybe the early internet days.
Maybe
Because there was
.com boom.
the .com would have been there, because the big data boom during the Hortonworks days never got to either of those two levels. But it's a close third, if you will. So like the 8 to 12, 13, somewhere in there, that was the big data window.
Yeah, it's a close third. It's a third place, but not close third, right?
Not
kind
a close third,
It would be a race, kind of. You're still kind of the first one already did the one whole lap more than you, right? Kind of like that's the third, kind of like far behind third, but still third.
Okay. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Because we could sit here and ramble about AI for the next few hours, and we would still be no further along than where we are right now.
Hey, the best showcase of the AI I've seen this year, that was without a doubt the Tesla event.
I didn't see that.
When there were robots mingling with people and turned up that they were most likely remotely controlled.
Of course they were. That's fine. Have you revisited Fabric recently? Or is it just
Not
boring?
revisited as in I'm using it daily.
Yeah. I use it weekly for one thing in specific, but besides that, I keep it updated, right? I do that, but beyond that, that's about it.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to update it,
Update. So when you run it, you switch to the Go version, right?
Yeah, DevOps.
So there's also another command that will update all your recipes too. Unless you're using custom, but you should. I can't remember what the sub command is, but
you mean from Python to Go or
no. Once you're
within Go?
Within Go. So like you say, Fabric. Was it Fabric Update or Fabric?
Okay.
I don't even have it in front of me right now. It's on a different machine, but anyway. Because that's one thing I saw. I was like, I can update my recipes. Because that's the thing. I just don't want recipes getting out of date, especially if they're patching them or something. There's a reason. Which model are you using right now? But that was going to be another question.
Azure OpenAI.
You're still using the Azure one?
GPT-4o on Azure.
Just 4, or are you using the O1 model? Do they have the O1 model in Azure? Do you know?
I don't know about the O1, but yes.
Oh, okay. I haven't kept up with it. Anyway.
I don't even know why I'm using it, to be honest. I saw new release and kind of like, do you want to replace your model with the 4.0? And I said,
sure, yeah.
Go for it.
But that's the key part to this, right? That's part of the boring of this right now. It's like, you want that updated? Sure. Why not? And think about us a year ago.
Have I seen the difference after I updated? No.
How would you even know? It's not deterministic, so there's no way to know.
Because, I would know by rewriting less than 70% of what I get from it.
Right.
That's how I would know.
Which none of us are going to be doing that. We don't have time for that. Okay. So we'll be back next week for sure. That'll be, by the way, we didn't say this. Today is Friday the 13th. So go enjoy that celebration. Go watch some horror movies today, because why not? I won't be, because I need to sleep tonight. Horror movies and me, not friends. Not friends at all. Okay, thanks everybody. Do the YouTube things. The link's already down in the show notes for today, and except for the Kubernetes one, obviously. And then we'll do the what'd you call it? AG2. We'll see how that works out. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.